everyone, and welcome to class. I'm going to speak a little bit lower tonight because the kids are in bed, aren't they? Probably. My name is Ali Hart. If you're just joining, we're on lots of different platforms. I'm now getting better at knowing the rules, and it is so great to have you. Say hi in the chat. Let me know where in the world you're joining from. It has been unreal. This is live number 5 of 12 in the new year. I'm a professional artist. This is my home office. And to the left of me, it might be on the right in your camera, is where my ironing board hangs, because it's my office, but it's also one half of our utility room. But tonight we are going to paint impasto. So I'm going to show you a little bit of impasto. We did paint these flowers. We did paint this bunch of tulips on Friday morning using paintbrush. And the paintbrush that we used was one brush, and we used the colors, the primary colors, red, blue, and yellow. And then we add an additional black and white. Now, of course, I've painted over it already, and we will use this for our demo once we get started. But I use impasto paint quite a lot, and so basically it's thick paint. If you're totally new to painting, it is thick paint. Hello, where are we? North Carolina, Southern California. So good. I love the wedding. Thank you so much for asking. Let me know on all the other platforms where you are tuning in from. It means so much to me that we're growing like by thousands, and that it means a lot to me. And there's been lots of downloads of my masterclass, which is a 2-hour course in painting with the pastels. I use them. I need to know about textures. Great, good to know. We will cover pastels. We will cover oil pastels. Hello in Oklahoma. So nice to have you. Thank you for joining. In Chile, Alberta, Canada. Amazing. Well, it is cold over here. Hello in Germany as well. Amazing. So we painted this, and I talked to you before about basically when you're painting flowers in a loose format. And before we start anything, I just want to say, on my channel, on my socials, I will always bring my most creative self forward. So my creativity comes in the form of loose, abstract, fun, free painting. So I want that for you. And there's been quite a lot of questions around, can I only paint loose if I can first of all paint realism, which is a really good point, because I guess, for me, having gone through a degree and a master's, I can definitely say that it is a skill that I have. If you showed up in front of me, I could sketch you just like you look like, but that's never the style that I want. That's not what I want for you. I want you to bring your own style. There are places where you can learn about realism, just not over here. So whenever it comes to painting still life, this is like a sidekick, right? It is not the main character. You and your art are the main character, and you get to bring through the artist's eye. So keep thinking about that whenever you show up to any of my classes, when you watch any of my demos. Think about the fact that I'm teaching you to view through the artist's eye. If we wanted to use a camera, we could use a camera. If we wanted it to be just like so, it could, but not right now. Not here. So this is our tulips, which are finally a little bit better. I'm not a florist, okay? So I've worked on them a little, but it's not like the best ever. Hello. Let me know where you're from, tuning in from. It's so good to have you. Please do like the live. I really appreciate when you do, because it means I can teach more people around the world how to paint loose. So thank you. Just hit tap. Okay, this is one of my impasto paintings to show you. This is basically an oil painting, which I absolutely adore. I'm going to turn that down a little bit. It is of Donegal, and you can see that there is very thick marks on it if you look. So you can achieve those with a palette knife, which is what we're going to work with tonight. Even if you're following with paintbrush, you still will be able to follow. But these are the palette knives, which of course I didn't have ready. So I've spent the whole afternoon scraping them. I put up a little video to show that I basically had to do that, which happens to me all the time. And I know it's stressful for people that I'm very bad at cleaning my brushes and my palette knives, but such as we are. My dad died when I was 7, and he was a mechanic, and my mom said he left his garage immaculate. So I'm working towards that, Dad, just not there yet. So this is an impasto painting. This is also to show you impasto on a little scale. So I put up actually yesterday on my socials one of the paintings that I made, which was, so there's a painting I have in a place called the Salt House Hotel, and I did not use any medium or any paste when I was making it. And the same with this, there is no modeling paste in this or no medium to make it thick. This is basically, you are able to use your paint if you get a kind of middle of the road to heavy bodied painting, tube of paint, and I'm not sponsored by any of them yet, but Liquitex Heavy Body would be one that I would recommend. If you are using that, then actually you're able to achieve quite a thick amount. And thank you for tapping and liking. Thank you. But you don't need to worry about that for the purpose of tonight. But that just shows you a landscape, which is very like the one in the Salt House Hotel. And then the one that I put on my socials was similar to this. And it was massive. And we didn't actually have palette knives big enough, because when you're translating that impasto style, which is quite bitsy, and you apply and you move on and you apply and you move on, translating that to a really large scale, which went to Australia, it was about 2 meters wide. And I used large pieces of cardboard that we folded over, and I was able to scoop left and right. If you've just joined, let me know where you're from. Now, this is also to show you impasto. I was hired to paint live at Crickets in Ireland, and this is showing you thick paint when it's applied nice and thick on there. And you know what it does? It's another introduction to loose painting, because you let go of perfectionism whenever you have got to, when you're applying, and you will see whenever we start this. Hi, Bren, nice to have you. Lovely. Let me know. Hamburg in Germany. Hi, Barbara. It is so wonderful to have you all. So these are palette knives. I can do videos on palette knives. There are some, no, there's no videos on palette knives. But this is the shape that I like. You can get different shapes. You can get this one. Sorry, my nose has been running a bit like a tap, which is a bit more like, I think it's actually quite like a butter knife. And whenever you're working in Newfoundland, Canada, hi Diana, lovely to have you. And you can basically apply it quite well. For me, I prefer there to be a point on the end. I like there to be that like triangular shape. This one would be a favorite for me. And you're basically just moving it left to right. I have some clients, hi Ash, or hi. I have some clients and they're left-handed. So if you're a lefty, it can be difficult for you to, it depends how you, my son is a left-handed child, and he gets really frustrated putting butter on his pancakes. And I know that can be quite frustrating, but with all of this, right? I cannot emphasize enough. We're here until 10:30, by the way, so lock in. Thank you for liking the live. I appreciate it. It is a journey, right? At the risk of sounding like I am on a television program and we've come to the end of the series, it is a journey. And life, like what is life but to be and enjoyed and to experiment and to have fun, especially in the creative space. Even if you get it wrong, it doesn't matter. All right. And you know, I get nervous about these as well. And I'm a professional artist, but whenever I'm thinking about it, like I had to lie on one of those mats, you know, those wee spiky mats, which I got for my headaches last year because I get so nervous before I come on. And my husband always, where am I based? I am based in Northern Ireland. So I'm in Belfast in Northern Ireland. Last thing to do with this. So whenever we're doing flowers, there is a full length demo of this on my YT space. You can find it. This is to show you another thing is we're not going deep on light and shade whenever we're painting this. We are nodding to it. We are bringing it, decline. Honestly, I love your content and style. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. It means so much whenever you have like a world of other things that you could be doing. So thank you for being here. Stage fright. Yeah, Karma, I do. It is a bit like stage fright. So I have a demo of this. I just want to flick through these really quickly so you can see. This is loose painting. This is whenever you're doing a continual line of, whenever we're going to do one of these now. So it's a continual line where we do not lift our pencil off the page, and we're doing an impression of what's in front of us. So it's a gesture drawing. A gesture drawing is capturing what's in front of you in a small space of time. I encourage it for loose painting because it settles your brain and it settles everything. Hello, thank you for liking it. And then this one is whenever you have a little bit more time and you look at light and shade. So you only use values. And someone else was asking me that somewhere. I will do a painting, a demo on values, and we'll look at values, we'll look at hues, but values are basically your light and your dark. But for the purposes of tonight, of this loose painting that we're doing in this short space of time, thank you for reposting and sharing about the live. Thank you, everybody. That is all we're looking at is our darkest and our lightest, and we're going to use our bright white paint at the very end to emphasize the lightest, but everything else in between, it's through the artist's eyes. Please put through the artist's eyes in the chat on below, because I want you to get that to be part of your language. Through the artist's eye, through the artist's eyes. Put it in the chat. I would love that. Thank you so much. Then this one is just simplifying again through the artist's eyes. Absolutely. So true. So this is how you just simplify and simplify through the artist's eyes. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So all we're doing is simplifying. And you're listening. Thanks. Yes, through the artist's eyes. I appreciate you listening. Someone had put in one of the demos through the artist's eyes today about me talking about the water moves paint on one of my recent videos. And I love that you get to remember that. So through the artist's eyes is so true. You are the artist. You're the creator. And this is a very exciting time. Okay, I'm going to use charcoal because you're able to see it easier whenever we demo. And what I'm going but you can use pencil wherever you are. I will try to bring you forward, but earlier on, my husband was helping me set up. And because this is my home studio, at which I want to record for you in my Belfast studio, because I can literally throw paint. Because, oh Lord, there's a light has just fallen. And Michael had said to me, "You're not listening to me. That's all going to fall." So that's what's happened. But nobody worry. I'm an artist, but you taught yourself. Great. Good to be here. Hello. Did you hear that fall? Yeah, I did. Is that it back again? Did exactly what you said for me not today. Sorry, Michael. Okay. Big Mike. You can all put Big Mike in the chat. He says no, don't be. But, he's good. He's good. Okay. And you're the artist. Great. I'm going to have a little drink of this. You're going to need your pencil and a page. All right. Charcoal here. Willow charcoal. I am a big fan of willow charcoal. It is, hello, Big Mike. Love it. It makes me so happy. He gets called Poor Michael a lot as well. So by the end of these 12 sessions, you can put Poor Michael, because he has a lot to put up with me. And he's a good assistant. He always tells people he's a geography teacher, and he tells people that he keeps in between the lines, coloring in maps, and I color outside the lines. So whenever we're working with our still life, I'll bring this forward as well. When we're working with our still life, you're basically looking at it. This is a plinth from my master's 20 years ago. My brother's a joiner and he made me plinths. And this is basically a big white wooden pillar. And I thought, well, I should have used that before. We're looking at it. You can stand back if you're doing this, but remember, it's the side character. It's the sidekick. Here to watch this evening as I'm filled with flow. I'm sorry to hear that, Sarah, but thank you for being here. And hopefully this brings you a little bit of joy and color. Someone's birthday. You received fresh tulips for your birthday today. Happy birthday, Christy. And thank you for being here. Happy birthday to you. Okay, so we're going to look at this and we're going to just translate it in a very short space of time. And all we're going to do is I'm going to give you some guidance. You can follow along, or you can just, you can follow along. So we're going to start with the bottom. Actually, sorry, I had a thought earlier on. I wanted to do it slightly different, but how different can we do this? Probably not that different. All right, so we're going to come, I'm going to split my page. This is a page, this is a page, this is a page. We're doing 4. All right, so we're going to go for this middle one first, and we're going to basically just put a little flat pancake circle. Someone said that's not a circle, but they didn't hear me say pancake. Then we're coming down left and right, and then a nice little scoop along the bottom. At this stage, in the very beginning, I want you to hold your pencil nice and lightly, so you already get the feel of it being quite loose. Then we're going to actually go for, the lovely thing is we have this gathering of your tulips up nice and straight and nice and high. So you're going to basically just start to fill in. You can pick which one you really want. So like I want this wee guy at the front, and then we're going to just go a few more, just random. And then you can bring in the stalk, and you're imagining they're coming the whole way down. This vase is not glass, but if it was, they would bring the whole way down. Sometimes that might feel easier to you if you bring them the whole way down. So then we go for here. It can be as random. This is very full of a lot of activity in the middle. And then a few little leaves. I kept some of these ones even though they're a wee bit dying, but I like them for demo purposes because they look pretty they're hanging over the vase, if you can see that. So a few little triangle shapes, and then one more. And that is all we need. Now I want to look and see where the shadow is. The shadow is coming out to the left today. So we could make this very fancy, but the purposes of this is not fancy. We're wanting it to feel loose, vibrant, and fun. So we're coming basically over to the left. As simple as that. Your shadow comes over underneath to the left, or the right if it's turned around, sorry. And then lastly, we're just going to have it on a table, so it's not floating in space. And that, my friends, is what we call a gesture drawing. Gesture drawings help you understand the subject. When you're learning how to loose paint, the more informed you are as you go along before you get to paint, the more expressive and free you will be whenever you're applying the paint. Hopefully that makes sense. So this is called information. Put information in the chat if you follow. This is called information. Gesture drawings are information. Thank you for liking the live. Now, I'm going to go across information. Brilliant. I'm going to go across, and we're going to do a continual line. Every time you bring yourself in front of the canvas, or every time you come to one of my demos, I will teach you little different skills. Okay, and that's why my 2-hour course, which is a masterclass in loose painting, we go through much more detail. But these are just a really cool way for you to get an insight into how I teach you, and for you to follow along, because they will always be on my feed, full-length demos for you to enjoy. Information. You can say it in your own language as well. And I hopefully, when you turn on subtitles, that's whenever you can translate the language. I've had quite a few people say about translation. From my end, I'm working on it, but hopefully when subtitles are on, it works. So this is our continue line one. So we're coming across, you're going on to another page. Just grab a printer page. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Thank you for liking the live and sharing it. Okay, so we're going to go again. We go for that pancake, left and right, and then down. You can make it an angle if you want. Oh, sorry, forget that. This was our continual line. The teacher got it wrong. Sorry, everybody. So let's start again. Pretend that never happened. Here we go. So we go for our circle. Don't lift your pencil off the page. Even follow this if you're not going to do the painting one. It's really fun. Coming down and across, back up. Now we're not going to leave our gap the way we did. Instead, we're going to start to just do some lines with some squiggles. They're like little balloons. And then you can bring some down, bring it back up, down. Lovely little leaves. Enjoy it. You want those tulips to be the star of the show. And here we go over the side. Then we're coming down. You can be as rugged or as precise as you want. And we're going to go over to here, back in. And here is our lovely shadow. Then we're coming up and we go across, back down, and there we have. And every time you do something, it pushes your skills, and it also makes you lose that idea of perfectionism in your painting. The tanner worked, you looked radiant. I hope the wedding was a blast. All my supplies have arrived. Brilliant. Thank you. Yes, I'm a big fan of Tanner. So thank you. I don't have any on today. Not a pick, not a pick. So I should do. So fun. Isn't it really fun to try that? So that's another step for you to learn loose painting, starting with loose drawing. Let's come across to here. Now what we're going to do is have a little look at that light and shade that we talked about. Just make sure everybody can see. And we are going to do a very simple. So I'm going to put the time. The timer's going to go to 45 seconds. We're going to go 15 seconds. So I'm going to just say nothing and do it, and you go for it too. Try and remember. Four seconds left. And done. So that is your 15-second gesture drawing, all right? And then when you look at that and you look at this, so just your subject matter is there to inform you. It's not there for you to be so caught up in it. It's there to inform you, right? So I'm going to look at this. You can look at it from your angle if you can see, and you can decide, look, I want to have some dark in here. I want some dark in and along where the bottom of the top of the vase is. Then there's automatically going to be some dark on the left-hand side of the vase. Same with our little shadow. And then in terms of the tulips, if you're using, oopsies, if you're using a pencil, if it's a B pencil, so a B pencil, you will get a little bit more mileage out of it because it's softer. So you can actually push in with it to get that darker shade and then use your hand to move it about. But otherwise, you can just go like so, and you can get into that shape of tulips. So if you think about them being that lovely, quick shape, like a U shape, and you can have a little bit of light and shade on those and add in a few underneath, you know, underneath a leaf would be nice and dark, just to really simplify. So here you see how you get further and further along the information line. The information line? I'm not sure that's a thing, but it can be now. Information line. Thank you for liking the chat and for being here. So fun. It totally is. Now we may as well use this because we have it. So we're going to do the same as what we did the other day. If you can, if you're using a pencil, you're going to hold your pencil at the very end, and you're going to basically give yourself some space. Or thank you for the advice and technique. Thanks for being so incredibly helpful. Thank you for being here. Honestly, I don't take that lightly. So I'm delighted to share my knowledge. No gatekeeping here. I share my knowledge. I love sharing my knowledge. And what makes me happiest is the amount of people in the last 4 days who have sent me their demos afterwards, using demos or using lives. Honestly, thank you, thank you, thank you. So you can either use tape like I have, and you can tape your pencil onto the end of a paintbrush, or you can just hold your pencil. Like, I want this to be applicable to everybody so you don't have to feel left out. You know, I know what it's like if you don't have tape lying about like I do. You have to go and find the tape wrapping the Christmas presents. So you're going to basically give yourself space from where you are. I do this exercise with children. I put it whenever I'm teaching them, and they love it. We go and forage and get a stick outside, and then we tape the pencil to it. And it means that they can get that space and they learn how to loose paint. You're using color on it now. Color. Yes, we will. I will be adding color. Yes, yes, yes. This is just the gesture drawing, which will inform the painting so that you can paint fast. I believe when you paint fast, you push your creativity. So here we are. We're very close to our tulips, but nobody panic. Nobody panic. Nobody panic. And we're going to go here. So all you're doing here is we're going to go for 45 seconds. And you're going to translate it. You can use what you've used here if you're feeling really like open to being free with your movement, or you can study it again and just keep looking at it while you are making that distance. And it is already going to help you to get used to the feeling of painting loose. So all I'm doing here is the tulips, and some tulips will be more like a little cinnamon roll because you can see them opening up forward like that rather than standing tall. We've got 25 seconds left. Then think about your stalks coming down, and then some leaves. And then we're coming down for the shadow, 10 seconds. And then we have it on our table. So there we go. That's how we journey through getting from, like, it's still not even that tight to begin with, but a gesture drawing. Hi, what are you doing? Hi, Sarah. This is called gesture drawing. So gesture drawings are whenever you take an impression and thank you for liking the live and for joining in. You look at your subject matter and you translate it in a short space of time. It is information for when you get to your painting. So now we're going to go to our canvas. We're going to go to a small canvas first, and then we're going to go to our large canvas. Thank you for being here and for sharing and liking. And let me know if you have any questions before we move on. I will look and see. Any questions about what a cool idea for a live. Great. I know. Do you know what? I am obviously quite obsessive about what I do anyway, and I love what I do. But the year of 2026 was very much like, how can I grow and really enjoy using the platforms? So it was in the middle of the night unboxing. I'd stopped taking my headache tablets, and so I'm awake more. And I was awake, and I thought, unboxing morning, I am going to do a live, and that's been great. So we're doing 12. So it is great to have you. I'm going to move this out of the way. We're going to bring our easel in. Let me know if you have any questions about how to use impasto paint. What paint do you use mostly, please? I use acrylic and oil paint. And there is, in the top of my pinned videos, you will see there is a video about the different the different types that I use. Look at all we're using today, everybody. You know, I tell you to use any paint. I would use paint off the floor. I do use paint, any paint. Today we are using a mixture, and this is again the beauty of loose painting is being open to. You don't need to have all the fancy tools in the shed. It's all about you. You've got it in here, and I'm going to teach you skills so that you feel more confident to be yourself entirely, which means more creative. Then we're using just Galleria. Not specifically heavy body, but the one thing I would like you to use is ultramarine blue, cadmium red, and cadmium yellow if you're specific about colors. I do have cadmium yellow deep hue today, but in terms of the paint, this is the Liquitex heavy bodied, which I love, and it is quite a good bit of, I need someone to monitor for me. Do you know what I was thinking? Some of you regulars on the lives who are so good to me, I was like, maybe I just give them full access so they can monitor things and keep on top of them, because you're all so helpful. So thank you for helping me along. That's what I love watching your vids. You break the rules and live. I do. When it comes to, I'm on the laptop now, amazing. I want you to know that you can enjoy art with whatever you have in front of you, especially as so many of you obviously got kits for Christmas, which is great. Here we are, and this is what we have done. We have put a lot of paint. The difference in painting impasto is that you will use a heck of a lot of paint. It basically, the canvas eats paint. So if you think about the tiny bits that we used in our previous demos, we were able to use the same amount for our smaller paintings, and we translated those into large paintings. We also used water to make it move. You don't have water when you're using a palette knife and you're using oils or acrylic. For the purposes of today, we're using acrylic. I love drawing and painting. It's so relaxing. Brilliant. I want to visit Ireland. My best co-workers from Moneymore. Amazing, Kathy. It's a good place to come. It's a good place to come to visit. So we're going to start with our little one, which I painted over and I've set down. So give me just a second. Ask any other, just talk amongst yourselves while I find the canvas. What have I done? Ali, this is now where I look like absolute dingbat. Here it is. I've put Gisu over this. This is our little guy. I could actually probably just hold it up like this and show you. No, it's not good. This doesn't go up. It does go up. Yes. This is the one that I take when I go to plein air painting. Let me know in the chat if you ever do plein air painting. And whenever I do, I absolutely curse it because it is the pain in the bum. It's very, very difficult to set up. It has these 3 little legs that are like, they have a life of their own. So I've had it up since the first live and I just haven't touched it. Have done one in Killarney. Lovely. I do it all the time. I'm never without a book paint. It goes ever with me. Kirsty. Hi, Kirsty. It is so good to hear. And hopefully when you join me, you'll realize that basically mark making in all its form is what's really important. Doesn't have to be perfect. You just need to make your little marks. And we're going to just leave that guy up there. Okay. I'm going to use the charcoal again to do a gesture drawing. You've guessed it, a gesture drawing. I've also painted over a little canvas before people say, what is on that canvas? I like to paint over canvases. I encourage you to do the same. One of my recent full-length demos is all about using a canvas and painting over it. It's part of the fun, and what I believe it does is it already gives you a language. It already gives you some information and a little bit of fun. So we're going to just do what we have before. So we go for little circle, left and right. You can also bring it down the canvas. I confess to you that I'm always skew-if. I never have anything very centered. Like I did a cricketer there at Christmas and the legs were off the side. Like the framers often give me feedback about it because it's difficult to frame. Then we're going to go for our tulips. Very light with your pencil. If you're hello in California, you're also an artist. This is charcoal. Yes, so I use charcoal so that you can see. As a painter, for me, who's very relaxed about a lot of things, it drives me bananas. But I do it for you because you're very important to me. And you'll not be able to see it if I use a pencil. So we go for here. Then we're going to look. You can look at your subject matter, which is now well out of the way, but I'm going to use one of your gesture drawings or pick one here if you want and go with that. I'm going to go with the loosest one here. So basically you're planting down the tulips. If you've just joined, the tulips are the star of the show. So let them high in Germany. So I would use pencil otherwise. And I encourage you to do a gesture drawing on your canvas first, because that will mean that, again, you're more relaxed by the time you get to paint. Not so it's paint by numbers. This is not paint by numbers. This is just a guide because I want you to paint fast. Hey, Tony, nice to have you. Thank you for liking the live and sharing it. And then we go for some leaves, stalks, little leaves coming off. But that is all you need to do. A little bit of where the shadow is, and it's sitting on a table. Simple. Take your pencil down. Why do you recommend willow charcoal? Oh, I recommend willow charcoal in general because it is the most forgiving. Willow charcoal, you could draw a portrait now, or I could do, so there's willow charcoal on this tulip. Look at the blend. You can blend in that, then you can bring it back in, then you can use an eraser to get rid of it entirely. You can use the eraser in the center of it to make more marks. It is a very fun tool to bring on your skills and take out the panic, like pencil feels very committed. Good. You got that. Awesome. Please do ask all the questions to do with art, building a creative business, personal branding as a creative, and of course, painting, the best bit of all. Right. This is a palette. I often use paper plates as well. This is how much paint we have on here. We're going to actually do it back to front. This is another, I try to do this too. I try to do it back to front a little sometimes to help my brain too, so it's not all boring. As if it would be boring on here. Don't be so daft, Ali. My cousin was reminding me that I never stopped talking as a child, and I was the youngest by quite a lot of years, and I'm pretty sure I annoyed all of them with my talking, but thank you for choosing to be here. Okay, forgot to mention, when you're working with your acrylics, and your oils, you can use a medium. The mediums that I have here, I don't really care for. As you can see, they're pretty low down. So we're not going to use loads of them. One is carvable modeling paste, and the other is modeling paste. Other things I use are, you can use Impasto, which is going to give you a little bit more of a sheen, but it's a specific one that you get. But modeling paste would be what I would get across all the boards. And it just gives you a little bit thicker, and it stops it from drying just as quickly. Although modeling paste, as you know, it does have a little bit of a tint to it, but that's all for the advanced ones. Let me know if you want to know about that, because I could talk all day about art, as you know. I might not even use the modeling paste tonight. I don't know if I want to. This is quite large for the size of this canvas, but my 45 million other ones are in my other studio. So you're just going to have to watch me wrestle with it. We're going to start with the flowers for a bit of fun, to get a bit of a layer on there, and then we'll go down to the other ones. What kind of paste is this? Modeling paste, and it is Galleria and Liquitex. Thank you for reposting. So cool. So cool. Okay, we're going to take some white, and you're going to put it onto your palette. This happens quite quickly, okay? So everybody tune in, keep up, let me know how you're getting on. We're going to then add some red to it. So if you wanted to get a really nice pinky red, you would use a more, you wouldn't use cadmium red, but it's okay. We're sticking with cadmium red because it's what I teach you. Look at that. That's going to stress a lot of you out. I just covered it with a little bit of color. Sorry about that. So this is our pink. We're going to go for pink, and we're going to make it a little bit darker on one side. So when you're making it darker on one side, you're literally pulling the paint in and around. And the only thing I ask, I'm very relaxed in my classroom, but I do want you to mix a color so it's a solid color. All right. So you're mixing so it makes it much more solid. Then we're going to take a big chunk of white to the other side. We're skipping all our color wheel theory tonight, but we'll go back to that in a minute. There we go. So 3 colors. In terms of the color wheel is red, blue. Oh, Molly, do you ever gesture draw with paint? I do, Aideen. Yeah, I do gesture with paint. And do you know what else I would say? I gesture with paint, and I sometimes use like I look at it in light and shade. So if I'm doing a landscape, I would use a gesture drawing of like the background, you know, like so the field's far away with a darker shade. And then I would get a little bit lighter if I've got something in the foreground, like a fence or a shed, if that makes sense. So you can do gesture drawing. You're still keeping it simple, and it's still a little bit of an outline. But yes, I do. Hopefully that answers. So whenever you have the primary color wheel is red, blue, and yellow, okay? And simplifying that for you, they're basically like the parents. So red, blue, and yellow are the beginning. And then we mix, put it in the chat there for me. If we mix blue and yellow, what color does that mix? Put it in the chat. If we mix blue and yellow. Green, absolutely. Green, green, green. Yes, we mix green. So we're going to do that in a minute. But then if we mixed our pink, nope, our red and our yellow, which color do we get? So this is the primary color wheel. If we mix red and yellow, what color do we get? Orange. Yes, 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 yes. Brown. So brown, yes, orange, orange. So brown is red, blue, and yellow. So you're not far off. Orange, orange. Yes, yes, yes. That's okay. all part of the fun. Orange, orange, yes. Then the last one is purple. Which two colors, we'll switch it around this time, keep you on your toes. Which two colors mix purple? Which two of these colors mix purple? Red and blue. You're on it tonight. Love it. And it's late. Everybody is like switched on. I like it. That is your secondary color wheel. So your primary color wheel is red, blue, and yellow. Your secondary color wheel, which you mix and which on my 2-hour masterclass course, we make our own color wheels. You then get orange, green, and purple. Then after that, you get into what we call the tertiary color wheel. So first, second, third, primary, secondary, tertiary. It's a lot to take in, but the reason I'm sharing that with you is if you do anything moving forward, please make a light and a dark shade of the color that you have. And that will automatically get you 3 shades. When you're learning how to paint loose, the more you have here, the looser you can be here. Look at how much paint I have for this tiny canvas. So let's get it on there. First mark, the first cut is the deepest. So let's get it on there. I'm going to go with I'm going to add in a few more wee guys here. And then we've got a little one over here, bendy. So the way that this is it is kind of pink with a little bit of white in it. So we're going to replicate that in our own way. So I'm going for pink in here, and you'll see that I'm loading it up. Thank you for the likes and the shares. It means so much to me. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, look at this. Yes, yes. This mama loves latte. Latte is a brilliant name. That is correct. So we go like so. You've got it put onto your palette knife, and you're going to spread it like butter sometimes, or the likes of here. You're going to basically push it in, the point in, and then rotate it around. When I was teaching you with the brush, I taught you to do this action here. So you're basically spinning it round, and you're spinning it round when you're doing these lovely tulips. So in the same way, you're attempting that with the palette knife. So you're spinning it round and you're adding it on. So you've got your light shade and your dark shade. And these are a bit random because there's some of them there. Now, when you have a palette knife as big as mine, you have to basically if I go like that on the canvas, it's going to cover the whole thing. Okay, just about like oil. Yes, totally like oils. I just got here, but I love you for doing this. Thank you, Sloan. Thank you for being here. Welcome to the mayhem. And then we've got a middle of the road one, which I've kind of lost in there. But the idea is that the tulips, when they're like a little bell on round one side, you want to replicate that in the colors that you're adding, but you want to keep it loose because we're not into detail. Thank you for the likes and the likes, whatever it is. Thank you for liking the live. So much to think about. So here, and you can then pull it down, right? We're not going to linger on there. We're going to take some yellow and we're going to add it to one side of this and pull it in. And you're going to add some yellow to your pink. So we're going for that kind of peachy shade. A little bit more. Obviously, we've got artistic license with every single part of this. It's like I did a beach once and I added posts in it and there weren't any posts. And people were like, there's no posts in that beach. And I was like, not in my eyes. So then we're going to add some red to one other side of it. And we pull it out. So red into that pink. So we're bringing in for this reddy color here. Doesn't have to be exact, of course. But whenever you're mixing it in, and I'm not using any modeling paste here at the minute, you're pushing it down, scoring it, and just like it's a bit like the brush. When you're pushing it off the brush, you're going to basically pull it in and around. And then we're going to same thing. You're going to then try to get that little sweep up and around. I'll show you so it's nice and thick in that C shape. So you're getting it so it scoops up and around. It's the beginning of loose painting, okay? Love the content. Keep up the good work. Vakasa needs to take lessons. I'm glad you found your live. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Becky. Thank you, Cindy. And then we're going to go for that lighter shade. but we don't want it to be too murky. So whatever's on your palette knife, score it off or on your top. And then you're going to pull this orange paint in. So you want to now basically just navigate it round. And there's only one red flower, but I'm going to bring it back in again here. So it's a lot of back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And the idea is that you're basically just getting the color on there. So you can relax. Now you've got a bit of color on there. Oh, sugars. I want you to relax. Didn't say any curse words, thank the Lord. And then we're going to now go for that peach again. I'm going to take that peach. I'm just shoving the peach on here. There's peach with yellow. So if you're using a smaller palette knife, it's a number 4, a Dickies boiler suit. I know I love my boiler suit. My dad was a mechanic, so I actually wear his a lot. And then I got myself this for live painting. I love it. So whenever you're working with the, you're adding in, and you've got the palette knife is as large as this. There is one that is a size 4, I think it is. Please let me know in the chat for all of you guys that have been painting as long as I have. I think it's a number 4, not this one, but the size that would suit this canvas, which is about an 8 by 10 inches canvas, because I'm navigating this around, and it's, oh, well. And we're pushing it in. Now I'm going to wipe that clean again. You will always need a towel of some sort when you're working with palette knife. You know I like harmony. Well, I love whenever there's a little bit of harmony. And what I mean by that is when one color comes into another color in our paintings, when we're using brush, but when you're using palette knife, it gets very, very messy. So colors really interrupt the others. So try and get it as clean as you can. You can clear the comments. Yes. By swiping right. I think I watched a video on that as well. Hi everyone. Hi Darlene. I did watch a video on that. Thank you. But sure, I'll get there. Although everybody was here the other day when I blocked someone by mistake who was trying to help me. I was trying to be really brave, and then I immediately just like worried about that for half the wedding on Friday. So my confidence in navigating comments is low. So this yellow that we had, we've brought a tiny bit in of our peach, because let me know if you've heard me tell you before that I like you to make a color your own. Put a yes in the chat if you've heard me say, please make a color your own. And what I mean by that is for you, having to move the camera much easier. Yes, you've heard me say it before, right? Jennifer, Karma, yes. This is the way to Google send hearts. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the hearts. When you make a color your own, that is the start of your own creativity coming to the forefront. Because whenever someone comes to my classes, I used to do classes years ago, and people would bring their own tools and bring their own paints. I would provide paints as well, but they would often bring their own paints, and they would have got a kit for Christmas. And then they would basically lift the blue out, and the blue would go straight onto the canvas. And it gives me shivers, because I want you to make those colors your own. You see, if all you do is take a little bit of paint and you take the teeniest bit of black into that blue, teeny, or the tiniest bit of white, you automatically make it your own. So the next time you mix a paint, you can call, like, this is an alley yellow that I've just made, which is not the same as the yellow that you're going to make tomorrow, because it is entirely your own. All right. So I'm glad everyone's got it. Lovely to see you live again. Still to pick up the paintings, but Bethany, we've got all year. Don't you worry about it. I'm going to be here. I'm here for another 7 lives as well. So you're not going to be rid of me for a while. So I'll keep asking you. So this yellow is going to go on top of the peach. When we have a color like that, that's going to interrupt another color, you've got to make sure you have enough of it on your, hi Patula, nice to have you. You have to make sure that you have enough on here, because you're gently pulling it in and around, right? Hope that makes sense. So you're basically setting it on so it connects with the other that's there. Thank you for liking the live. And then you're pulling it down. So you get a hint of this other color without it being too like pulling the other bit away. Hopefully that does. I think that makes sense. I want to be brave with the palette knife, darling. I know it can be scary, but I want to show you guys this so that it can live on and you can be reminded that it is possible. So here we have evidence of our peach, which is on the palette knife. And we want to make sure that that doesn't happen too much. So we're going to mix it in, or you can wipe it off entirely, but we're going to mix it so it's entirely on there. Then we're going to put one more in the back like so. And we're going to bring some of our peach, take it off, take our peach, and our peach is going to go in underneath. So once you go at it from a different angle, then it looks like a different flower, because you know that I don't want you to be practicing uniform flowers. Flowers are not uniform. The forest is not uniform. So any way that you can make that more expressive, then the more, oh, that was the wrong one. Then the more interesting a painting you have. So here we are. This is us starting to get, we have no modeling paste on this. All right, and it's just a wee simple one for today. Clean your palette knife. Let me know in the chat with a yes if you are following, if it's all making sense. If you've fallen asleep, sorry about that. Hopefully not. Now we're going to take some white into, some clean white into this yellow that we have here. Yes, 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 you're following. Amazing. Loving it. Thank you. I'm loving it too. Once I settle in, I'm okay, but at the start, I'm like a wreck. So, but I don't know what. Maybe it's good. I feel like nerves are good for me. Never want to get too settled. Get scared. Get scared. It's like when you open the comments section, you're like, what's it going to say? And then you're just like, actually, it's fine. I can deal with this. People are here because they want to be here. So while I give myself this pep talk and tell you there's white in the yellow paint. Yes. Can you give a brief overview of what you use beneath for the wash and outline? Sloan, yes. You might have missed that. Were you late to class, Sloan? Were you late? Late? Oh, God, just kidding. This is Gesso paint. Gesso cover. It's only, you can only see through it because it's I'm running out of it, so I just put it on. So late, you're fine. I'm just kidding. But it's Gesso. But you can also just use acrylic paint if you're painting over another painting. You do not need to go out and buy this. You do not need to go out and buy white Gesso or Gesso. People love it because Gesso, basically what it does is, it's like, if you think of paper that has a rough edge on it, if you're using it for charcoal, like this is a heavy paper with a little bit of a rough edge, that's called teeth. So all we're doing here is adding teeth so that the paint will stick to it. Mine looks like a mess, but I like it. I feel like this does too, but in the best possible way. And I'm so proud of you for following, Anna. Thank you for being here. So this is our yellow one. Scoop it up onto your palette knife. And then so you're going to now just they're adding this on to as many places as you want. This is the light version. If you want, you can use a more lemon yellow like we have here. Thank you, fan club. So you can add your lemon yellow in so you get a little bit brighter, but it doesn't matter if you don't have it. And I'm going to dot this around. And on top, same thing. You're setting it lightly on, covering one side. Oh, it's got some pink in it there. So mix it in, spread it on, and then I'm going to scoop it up onto as much as I can, and then I'm pushing it in and around. It will pick up on your little guys that are already there. So you know that I want you to paint fast. So it's trying to get it right. Also, Anna, somebody wrote on one of my videos today, I'm sorry, but that's a mess. So everyone's opinion, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And that was the one I put up, the little demo. Greetings from the Pacific Northwest, Oregon. So lovely to have you. So who's to say? The messier, the better, in my opinion. Then we're going to go for a nice wee yellow one over here, but I'm just implying that it's in here. and it's already caught onto the pink. And we're going to put one more in under here, right? We don't always start with the flowers. You've been here when we started with the vase, but I wanted to start with the flowers tonight to keep it spicy. I like to keep it spicy. Now we're going to mix our greens. So you're coming on to your greens. Actually, we're painting a larger painting after this. So I'm going to actually take some of, it's already beautiful. Thank you, Ara. Very nice of you. Very nice of you to be here. And it's fun. I'm going to show you it all up close so you can see the detail. This is what makes it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to have a little bit of life. All making perfect sense. Superb. So this yellow that I have on is from the flowers. You can take that. Hello from Germany. Lovely to have you. Can't see that. Andrea, lovely to have you. And thank you. And thank you for liking the lives. I think I missed it, but what paint do you use? Mixed with what? I'm sorry, I'm new here. You don't need to be sorry. I'm so glad you're here. And the beauty of lives is I get to answer these questions. If people want no talking, they can go find the long form demos. Hi, sorry, I think I missed it. What paint did you use? So I'm using acrylic paints, and we're just using a mixture of, honestly, System 3, which is what I use for demos. And then I love the way you say flowers. Oh, Bethany, it's such a Northern Irish twang to it. Flowers, yeah. That would make such a good Valentine's Day card. It would, actually. And then we're also using Galleria. I'm not sponsored by any of these, but won't it be a beautiful day when I am? Won't it? One of you was so cute. Someone put in a video, was like, Ali, you keep saying about these paintings, but you're not sponsored by them. Don't feel you have to. And I'm like, thank you, but I don't mind for now. And here we have Liquitex modeling paints, which I haven't actually used yet. So we're using red, blue, and yellow, ultramarine blue, cadmium yellow, cadmium red, and then we have an additional black and white, just Mars black and titanium white. Hopefully that helps. Love your work. Do you sell prints? Do you know I did sell prints until very recently, although someone got in touch yesterday. If I have a print, I will sell it, but I don't have them on my website. But thank you for looking. Hello from Los Angeles area. Amazing, Deborah. So good to have you. So we're going to mix a lovely green. I'm getting really hot. Whew. And we're going to mix it. If you were being really pernickety and we were doing the color wheel, that was like the color wheel by, Maz, which I'm not very good at. Sorry. So much so that my 9-year-old doesn't let me do his homework with him because it's not my thing. But if we were doing, you would do equal amounts for your green, but we're basically making a green from blue and yellow, which is what you all told me earlier, which is true. So this is a green. When you use a cadmium, for those of you that are really geeky about paint, when you use a cadmium deep hue, like this one, it gives you a much earthier green. So it already looks a little bit earthier. I talk about tangy whenever we use just a cadmium regular. So this is your deep hue. When you use deep hue, it's a little bit more mustardy. So it is, you can see it here. I don't like green out of a tube. So the next time you go to buy one in the store, can you please hear me say, right? No more shop bought green. You can mix your own green. Why so much paint? Niall, good question. Because we're going to mix a large one after this and we're using impasto paint. So we are painting onto this guy right after. So we start with a small one and then we go to a large one. So there is the green, and we're going to take some yellow onto one side of it. So we get a lighter version. Remember I was saying to you, mix 3 shades of each color. Then clean that off. Then we're going to take some blue into the other side of it. And if we were doing the tertiary color wheel, this would be called blue-green. They just went all out when they were finding the name for that one. So there you can see 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Get that bag. Get the bag. What was I even saying? I can't remember. Can't even remember. And then we've got this green in the middle. When you are painting flowers, they are so overwhelming because there's so much green. So if you look at this massive green, and whenever I'm teaching people how to paint, I'm basically trying to take away the panic for you by adding in shades of gray. So we're basically just going to, sponsorship, yes, get it in the bag, yes. Yes, please. Yes, please. I'll tag all of you, all of the companies. So you're looking at your subject matter. Remember that your flowers are just the sidekick. All right, they are just flares. It is a bit like that, isn't it, Edie? The flares. We're going to look at light and shade. Do you remember when we were here, we were looking at a very, very simplistic view of light and shade. So we're going to translate that in this nice, loose, quick form onto what we've got. Remember, we did the flowers first because we wanted to make things difficult for ourselves. And a Galleria embroidered boiler suit. Oh my goodness, we could actually have a whole, somebody get in touch there. Let me know. Learning, mixing your own colors is very rewarding. I am so glad. It's so rewarding. It's a game changer. You'll never use anything out of the tube again. Thank you for all the likes, especially when you start adding the non-colors of black and white to change tones. Love it. Exactly. Thank you for your patience as you learn with me. Cannot believe I got here we do. Let's see. There's a wee thing there. I need to make sure. There we go. Can't believe I got the colors. I'm so glad you got the colors. Right. So we're going to go for the darkest one. You're going to add a tiny bit of red to that. And then you're going to be on the brown scale. So you're going to add a little bit of red, and it starts to make it a little bit tangier as well. So more on the brown, sort of dark brown scale. So load that up, and then you can use your gesture drawing that you use back here. Oh, thank you for all the likes. Thank you for all the likes. Then you're going to basically plant it in and around. This is a massive green underneath the tulips, but the tulips are the star of the show. We're letting those get a little bit tackier before we put our finisher on there. But we're now going to put in around the dark. So around the top, and then in there, just let yourself plant it on. And in here, you can do a stalk if you want. So you can start underneath and pull it down. This is where loads of techniques are all valid. So you can score it down. Then you're going to clean that off, come into one of your other greens. And then you're going to go over the top of that. So basically, you're just this massive green, not going to be uniform, remember. It's going to be some little bits will be green up in and around the tulips. Other bits are going to be over like here. So you apply it on and then you can score it back. Same with here. I'm going to do that lovely little, you can have the two dark shades together, just that it starts to let go of coming across your live, and you've inspired me to try this painting. I'm so glad. Thank you. This is the best thing about these, is knowing that you guys, and thank you for engaging. When you engage with it, it just really encourages me to keep going, because I still get scared. I know you're scared to paint loose, but I get scared to keep stepping out. So I love having you here. So thank you. Then we're going to go up and underneath. And this is where your imagination comes into play, because you're looking at this and you're looking at all the gaps, but you're looking really at the massive green. And you're allowed to use your imagination. I'm telling you now, you are, all right? Giving you full passageway to it. So thinking about green coming up and out underneath here. And then we're going to clean that off and go for our lighter shade. You'll be able to use all this paint later, don't worry, when we get really loose on the big guy. Now here, where there's light, there is dark, all right? Where there is dark, there is light, especially when we are looking at paintings in a loose format. So above the top of that leaf, we're going to hint into a nice bit of light green. So you start to get, I'm too scared to move anything after earlier, but I want you guys to see it clearer. Here we go. Here we go. There, that's a bit better, isn't it? I think. So you're going to take in this light green, this nice light one, and we're going to plant it in and around, and you can go over the top. Remember the same way we did with the tulips. let it go over the top. If it picks up color, just scrape it off and just add a wee bit of life in there. And the same with here. Then we're going to take a little bit of white. Whenever you look at that, it's quite a chalky green. So we're taking some white into our lime green. And remember, always mix, if you're late, always remember to mix your color so it's a solid color. We don't need wishy-washy. We want to have just fun, but solid color. I'm all about fun, but you want to have solid color before you have fun. You're brave to do it on live. I know. Brave or silly. One of the two. One of the two. And as I say to you guys all the time, it's a moment in time. And that's all it is. You're in Canada. Hi from Ontario, Canada. After watching your videos, I'm not afraid to pick up the brush and I'm brave to not be perfect. Thank you. So good to have you. And that means so much to me. Brilliant. So, and that's the point of this. The point is I want you to be brave. So I'll be brave to lead the way for you. Okay. Now, this lighter shade, this is going to be almost like a finisher in that I want it to be replicating the lightest shade that you can see here. So, and if you've just joined, we put as much information on this one so that by the time you get to our large one, which you can do on, you don't have to have a large canvas. If you use just paper, it doesn't matter because yes, it might crumple up if it's not heavy, but you can use wallpaper as well. And here we have then our light. So it'll pick up. Do you see that? It picks up each time. So we're going to go back, revisit, and it's just revisiting. So we want there to be a little stalk coming out of some of them because the viewer, this is another one I want you to put in the chat for me. The viewer will fill in the detail, right? You can put that in the chat. The viewer will fill in the detail. So you're going to let the viewer fill in a lot of the detail. Viewer fills in the detail. Absolutely. Done it once, but it's too nerve-wracking. Keep going. Let me know as well, and I can watch your live. If you're painting live, amazing. So painting live is one thing. Painting live and instructing is, it's really liberating to be messy. The viewer will fill in the detail. The viewer will fill in the detail. It's totally right. Let me know in the chat. The viewer will fill in the detail. That's the beauty of loose painting. So we want to follow up a few more of these. And you can bring one or two the full way down so that you're implying that they're there. And the same with here. And I'm going to do one thing which might stress some of you out. It's already picked up a little bit of the really dark green, but this feels a wee bit stripy to me. So I'm basically going to just do that. I'm just going to make a little mark. So we're now at this stage. All right. And then I'll turn it around to myself and I'll say it's really wonky. It is really wonky. Because when do we paint like this? As I always say to you guys, nobody really paints like that. So often you'll see they're a bit skew, but we're okay with that. All right. Clean your palette knife. Clean your palette knife. Have a drink if you need. If your throat's getting sore talking. All right. We're now going to make a turquoise for this guy down below. And you just need more blue than you do need. Great to have a tutor on here, Kat. Well, I'm so glad to be your tutor on here. Thank you. Thank you for being here. So, especially when it's so late. What time is it? 21:40. Great. We've got a little bit of time left. Blue. And you're going to take some yellow into it. If you have, thank you for the loves and the likes and the roses. I appreciate all of you. Thank you. If you have lemon yellow, you can use that. You certainly make your classes fun, Ali. You're doing a great job instructing. Thank you, Patilla, and it's so lovely to have you. Isn't that great? Thank you to everybody new who's joined. Wonderful, wonderful. You're going to take a little bit of your lemon yellow or your regular yellow into your blue. And if you've just joined, we're doing impasto painting, and we haven't even used any modeling paste. We're just using the paint. Because hopefully I'm showing you that you don't need to have all the fancy tools. Someone actually said they use hair gel sometimes too. We could try that sometime. My poor husband had to shave his head though, so I don't have any of his. I could take some of the teenagers. Right, can you see how we've now got a turquoise? When you use lemon yellow, it actually is a really nice turquoise. For the purposes of me telling you to use cadmium yellow, I'm going to do the both for you. So yellow with a big chunk of blue. When you're mixing turquoise, you'll see that in a lot of the demos that I make with the sea in it. If you're making a nice turquoise sea, it's a big chunk of blue with a little bit of yellow. Put that in the chat. Big chunk of blue with a little bit of yellow. Turquoise is a game changer. It's so beautiful. So here is just showing you the slight shift. It's a little bit brighter. The one with the lemon yellow, yes. Oh, Ali is a great teacher and artist for sure. Thank you, Kay. And we've got here, this is our two different turquoises. This is our cadmium yellow, and this is our lemony yellow. Don't know if it's lemon yellow or what it's called. No, it's cadmium yellow light. Cadmium yellow light. Sorry, my nose is running. Apologies. Right? We're going to then take a big chunk of white into that turquoise. If you don't have space, just put it right on top of it, because you're going to need a light version and then a lighter version. So that is your turquoise there. Make sure you mix that solid color. Then you're going to take the teeniest bit of black, right? Teeniest bit of black and a little bit more blue into one side. So you have a very slight variation on it, right? Very slight. So your darker shade, I'm going to just basically put it on there. This is a nice one for when you're not doing a vase that is water. If there's water in a vase, it can get really confusing, but we'll do that another time. Don't worry. And there's plenty of demos too. Been wasting money buying all the colors when I only need 5. Mic drop. Yeah, my job is done. I'm just kidding. I love neons. You will see a lot of my paintings have neons. But in terms of you getting better at loose painting, please do try to use the primary colors, red, blue, and yellow, with the additional black and white. And let me see what you've got, just to clarify. Sorry. Yes, that's ultramarine blue. You don't need to say sorry. I love having you. Hi, Kalinda. I love having you guys. Please ask all the questions. It's nice for you when you're not doing a glass vase to be able to basically plant it on and pull it down. And then you get, I'm not going to go into all the techniques of impasto painting today, but basically it's like a scoring, like you can bring it in and up, and then you get this lovely, it's actually like cement then. Do you know what I mean? Like it's kind of like if we were doing a sky with impasto, like this one. Not like this one, but this is to show you other flowers that we've done on a live before. I don't know. Oh, sky, a sky, right? If we're doing a sky, that base color on that sky, you can put it on and score it across to begin with. So like here, we're scoring this across, and we want to make a darker version. Again, you can change yours, or you can just add a little bit more blue into it, teeny bit of black. And we're letting the viewer, if you've just arrived, we're letting the viewer fill in the detail, like cake frosting. I think I'd said that before. Yeah, it's like icing on a cake. Thank you for your live and inspiring words and helpful advice. Your work is stunning. Thank you for being here. You were a classroom assistant at my school 18 years ago. It's amazing what you do. Very inspiring. Hi, Shannon. I was. Well remembered. Yes, I worked with integrating a young person because I specialized in autism and ADHD. So, I could cry. Thank you. Thank you for being here, Shannon. Everything builds us, and everything helps us and helps me in how I deliver my workshops and my tutoring, my whatever, painting. So this is for one side. We're going to basically just let it come at nearly a bit of an angle. Remember, we had it dark over here, and we're going to let the viewer fill it in. You can make it a little bit messier if you want, or you can have it one solid sweep. The sweep feels nice. Look at how thick you can get it. And that's just paint with no extra modeling paste in it. All right. And then I'm going to use a little bit of that, take a little bit more black into it for the purposes of time. And I'm going to put it over underneath where the shadow is. So it has a little bit of the shadow, and it has a little bit of the turquoise in the shadow, just for a bit of fun. All right. when we did the painting the other day, some of you will see whenever we do paintings, I like you to add a little color pop. It's another really good step in loose painting because you have to, it doesn't look like what's behind there. So it's a good step. So the centerpiece can look like flowers and it can be semi-abstract. Hello in New York. But the background, when we change that color in the background, it starts to play with your brain and helps you realize that it's okay for it to not be exactly like the color, if that does make sense. So for now, what I loved was all of you that sent them across all platforms, and it really made me like, actually, I was a wee bit obsessive in the middle of the night when I woke up, and I know you shouldn't lift your phone, but there were so many of you that gave it a go, and majority of you did your own color in the background, which is what I want for you. I want you to bring your own color to what you want. So I'm going to do a purple background, and I'm going to do 2 shades of it, and it doesn't matter if you want to follow that, you can. I'm not a flower person, but I'm really enjoying this. May paint flowers from now on. Fabulous. I would love you to paint flowers from now on. I found a wee tissue, so excuse me. I would love this painting to be on my wall to look at every day. Thank you, Sam. Good night. Yes, please go to bed, everybody. If it's late, it is very late, I know, but there's so many of you from all different countries. That's why we've got them on different times. So people on all different time zones can join in. So I really appreciate you being here for as long as you can. And being brave to ask this silly question, but I know you and other artists who wear art clothes that you don't mind wiping your brush or palette knife on. Do you wash these clothes? That's not a silly question. Yes, I do. I do wash these, and this never comes off. So when I work with kids as well, if I do birthday parties with workshops, we have to let them know that we're using acrylic because acrylic doesn't come off. Acrylic is easier to wash than my oil painting days, but yes. The other thing I'm going to say is getting to know yourself, which is what I want for y'all. The more you get to know yourself, the more you'll feel comfortable painting. And painting clothes, I've started to just every quarter in the year, I just decide on clothes that I would throw out, and they become my painting clothes now because I love feeling like exactly myself in them. And I would encourage you to do the same. But definitely, this never comes off. So, I'm very messy. Hence, when I did my nails for the wedding, I was sitting in the church picking off paint, even though I had a shower. But hopefully that answers your question. We're going to mix the purple, which you guys have already informed me is blue and red. So we have blue and we have red, and then we have a lot of white. You don't have to add white, but white is the magic trick for making it pretty. So if you've never mixed purple before, mix red and blue, and you will get like an aubergine color, or you'll get maybe an ultraviolet color. Once you add white, you get this lovely, bright, lilac-y color. It's a game changer. So there we've got 1 shade of it. Wipe that off. Oh, we've got turquoise on it too. Doesn't matter, just pull it in. Then we're going to make a darker shade of it with blue. You don't have to join in this bit. If you want to do any other color you want to do for the background, you can. Your only instruction from me is to make 2 or 3 shades of it. Because if we look at this as it is on its little pillar, right? If I bring this back in, if I bring your flowers back in for you to see, the flowers, oh, you can sort of see flowers. Yeah, sort of. The flowers are, the background is a gray tone, but there's 4 or 5 different shades of that, right? But you don't need to get really specific. We're here to paint loose, and painting loose means we let the viewer fill in the detail. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. Of course, it's a joy. It's a real joy for me. So, oh gosh, there we go. Someone said about my hardwood floors. We don't have hardwood floors in this house, but I did bring in a cloth to cover them because all the demos that I've done with you guys, the drips are covering it. Thank you for all the likes and the roses. Hi, Celine. Lovely to have you. Right, here we go. purple, all I'm going to do is go for this. It's slightly darker in this shade. Someone else put, do you even like painting? Where's your light and shade? But I've learned not to not to engage with that because I love painting if they watched, and we do get light and shade, but when you're learning how to paint loose and with interest, you can imply that it's there, but you don't get lost in the detail. So we're implying we have a slightly darker side over here. This is another thing which will be good for you if you're using palette knife for the first. Load it up onto the point if you've got a pointy guy, and you're just pulling the paint in and around. It will pick up other parts, but try not to panic. But this can help you shape your tulips as well, because you will just add extra paint in there. Then we're going to effortlessly bring in that lighter shade. And it doesn't need to be a big stripe down the middle. So that's what I mean. I'm going to bring it over here to begin with. This is the lighter shade. And this is where you can lift this up and navigate it. Get involved with your painting. Get up close and personal with it. So here, and then you can have some areas that are really thick, and you can have some areas that are really thin. When I run out of color, that's what I do. And you're gonna, so that adds a little bit of interest too. So it's not just like all the one thick. I actually find people when they make impasto, but this is just personal preference. Impasto paintings, when it's so samey, it makes me feel a bit like nauseous, So yes, painting makes me feel nauseous. So they're very blocky left and right, but we're going to let those two come together. And this is your one time you're allowed to have a bit of murkiness, right? You're allowed one color to overlap into the other. There's little dregs of the lighter shade going into the darker shade. Same with here. And we're just going to plant that on. And there we go. So you also, when you add the color in between, then you really finish it off. In terms of like, it's not just floating in space. Let me see, everyone following? You're a good teacher. Thank you, Ashley. I love teaching you. Negative painting. Yes, we're filling in the negative. Basically, yes, by going backwards, do you mean? Yeah, yes. By going at it this way around. Yes, yes, yes. Because we did the flowers first, which we don't always do. Great. And then you can shape out your vase. So I've said a few times to you guys before, if you don't like what you see, use the background as your guide to make it. Thank you for the likes and lives and likes, the likes. Thank you for the likes. It really helps spread the joy of loose painting. So thank you. If you're enjoying the live, give it a wee like. But you can shape out what's there. You can use that finishing color to go over it. Like whenever I'm doing figurative work, if I don't like the shape, if I'm doing life drawing and I don't like the shape of like the head or an ear, thank you for liking the live. Whenever I go over with it, I just put it right over the top of their face, and you can change it. Now, the bottom here, you can have it whatever you want. I think I'm going to go for the turquoise that we had with a little bit of whatever purple's on here. And it's just, this is the turquoise with a tiny bit of black, if you have that. It doesn't need to be as dark as this. You can make it a heck of a lot lighter if you want by just bringing some white into it. I know you can't see it off the screen, but I've got turquoise, which is blue, big chunk of blue, a little bit of yellow, and then we put a little bit of black into it. And then here we are with white as well on it. So at the start, if you missed the start, so that's it sitting on its thing, right? We're nearly finished. We're not finished entirely. But if you're late, right, I'm going to just let you know now, we are simplifying to make loose painting. I want you to be fun and have fun and be free, and for it to be in this. If all I did was impasto painting, I would probably be a very rich woman. People love impasto painting. Any impasto paintings pretty much I've ever made, they sell because they are so interesting, right? So you've just made a really interesting painting without it having to do much more than exist as a thick painting. When you go to galleries, when you go to restaurants and they have thick paintings, we haven't finished yet, they are so intriguing. So it's fun and it invites the viewer in. So whatever you're looking at now, don't overthink it, don't overplay it. We're not finished just yet. Before we finish with our white, if you're arriving late, whenever we're simplifying, we're looking at light and shade in its simplest forms. So we've simplified it here with the light and with the dark. And the reason that we simplify it is because it means that you're not going to be picking up a tiny little paintbrush and going in and making 40 different gray shades, okay? Couldn't get on here earlier. Check in, say hi. Hello, Laura. Lovely to have you. You're going to clean your palette knife and you're going to use the point of it if you have a pointy palette knife. And what you're going to do is, if you want to, you don't have to, if you like it like this, you can do it. We've got one other thing to add. Bright white is all we're going to add to this. But before we do that, you're going to, hopefully you can see in the camera, this is how you make shapes. If these were roses, I would use the point of my palette knife. Thank you for liking the live. You're enjoying it. You can swirl it around. Do you see it picks up some paint off there? It picks up the paint. But whenever you swirl it around, you start to add, it's like whenever you finish a painting using a graphite pencil or something, you are basically shaping what is there and you're adding your extra little energy. So there you can score in the shape of the vase again. I'll show you what it looks like. So when you score into it, you can see that extra energy that we have. It really is fun. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to look at it. See, I'm basically, I'm also going to bring some of this back in. So I'm going over the purple. So pick up, your paint should still be wet. So you can pick that up and shape it back into those tulip shapes again, which is like a bell upside down. And you make it a little bit more free again, right? And then lastly, you're going to go for your bright white because we're just, it's the simplest form. That's not even bright white, it's got pink in it. Bright white. You need bright white, titanium white, nice clean white. Any questions? Everyone good? Everyone good? Everyone's good. No one's sleeping yet. What do you use to seal your paintings? Varnish. Yes. Are you from Belfast by any chance? I am. I like the flags in your profile. We are varnishes. Yeah. So I use a variation of varnishes. This is, again, I'm not sponsored yet. Come back to me in 6 months' time. We have Gamblin I use, and we also have a really bog standard one called Art Studio, one that I actually really like, and I use satin varnish. I prefer satin or matte. I don't like shiny, but that's preference. Gloss. The gloss is not my favorite. What paint did you use? Hello, nice to see you. I am using acrylic paint. We were maybe going to use modeling paste for this impasto, but we decided not to. I didn't have much left in it. And we're just at the final stages here. And all we're doing is loading up the white. We could spend all day. We could add more to this. We could make it more 3D. But this is a live demo and it's meant to be fun. So we're going to just look at the brightest parts of our vase and play. So really what I'm doing is I'm going to add in a little bit on each tulip, but don't be uniform with it. Let there be, like, touch it onto what's there. So you're loading it up like you've got butter you're about to spread on your toast, and you're going to sweep it down. So it will pick up color each time, remember that. And then we're going to go here and use all the tools in the bag. So you can have it so it's really pointy with a little bit on it, and then we can bring it down. Oopsies. And then I'm going to actually put a wee bit here. And then lastly, I'm going to put just a little bit on the vase. And then over on the side. So There we go. You're okay. Night night, honey. Child going to bed far too late there. I'm just saying honey to my husband. No, I'm not. I'm saying it to my children. All right. So say this is our little moment in time. Okay. This is a beautiful, fun impasto painting. White is basically the brightest of the finishers. I love to finish most paintings with bright white anyway, but we could have gone further into colors, and would be cool to see everyone's results of this. But I know I can't wait to see if you've given it a go. I know impasto is difficult for people, but give it a go and see like the fun that it is. I'll bring it nice and close so you can see. And then before we go, we're literally going to do this even looser on the larger scale. You can follow along or you can watch how it translates to larger scale. So here we have, is it canvas board? Great question, Summer. I should have said that from the beginning. Yes, this is a canvas board. If you're learning how to loose paint and you feel, do you seal the paintings after they're finished? Yes. Hi from Calgary. Hi, Marlene. I just figured out how to see you on yeah, was watching and it was blurry. Great. Well, it's so good to have you. Sorry about that. So lovely that you all find me on all platforms. It means a lot. This is a larger palette knife and I use varnish, yes, to seal them. I don't always. Sometimes I really like, this will dry very matte and I really like that. So sometimes I don't use any. Sometimes I go rogue. Would you believe? Would you believe? Put it in the chat if you would believe that I sometimes go rogue. I know you're all going to say, of course you would, Ali, but right, we need space for this big boy. Here we go. Let me know if you have any questions. What we're doing now is we're going for the biggest one, which is this. And the reason that I want to show you each time how to work on this larger scale is because you can be even freer. Lovely piece. Thank you. You can be even. Thank you for all the likes and all the questions. Here we are. Here we are. I feel like I'm invading your entire screens with this because I am. So I'll speak through some of it, but you probably need a break from me anyway. I'm going to. What's the very first thing that I'm going to do? And then I'll let you guys just watch. What do we do first so that we settle ourselves? We do, it begins with G. And hi. Nice to have you. My favorite, Pam's my favorite. Started with watercolors. Always want to water down the paint. Elizabeth, you're so talented. Whenever watercolor, I know my limits. Gesture drawing, Sarah, you're right. We start with the gesture drawing. It is, yep. Can I briefly explain what you did for the background? Absolutely, Ashley. This is the painting that we did the other day. And it was very beautiful. And we made it with paint. So all I've done is put Giso on this. Giso. When I'm sponsored by them too, I'll know how to say it right. So that is what the first time watching you. Thank you. Welcome to the madness, Karen. So you can use white acrylic paint to cover it as well. But anything that adds, I just like to paint over a painting because it means that I help you to, like, it's one of the really good lessons is when you paint over a painting, because the work you put into something and then you cover it over, it's like dealing with that panic is another step forward in loose painting and being like, it's okay. Looks awesome. So much fun to do. Could do it with colored paste. Yes. Imagine. Yes, do, please. Right. I'm going to move you guys back. Do you know what someone did do? She might be on this live. She did a cake with one of my impasto paintings once. She put one of my impasto paintings onto a cake. I think it's saved somewhere. It is unreal. So you can do it with icing. Right. You can use the gesture drawing first. Right. That's it. So I'm just going to paint. Done. You often ask me what I do with leftover paint. I am like you. I do not like leftover paint. So sometimes I just use what I have, and that can also affect the painting in that it's not always true to color, and that doesn't bother me. So because I want to just use the paint that we've got. So here we are. Look at how much freer we are when we go on a larger scale. When you get your body moving in and around paint, I know it sounds bananas, but it's so true. Everything's different. All right, I'm gonna bring back some more. So it's automatically thinner on this larger scale. Thank you for this lovely live. I'd so love to have you. Thank you, Nadia. Thank you. Thank you. Stacy, hi. Stas. Right, here we go. And someone will ask, and I'll forget to say, this is 80 by 60 centimeter canvas. You can use just wallpaper is one of my favorite things to do. Just use wallpaper. And the same, whenever you're on this scale, you can have that same U shape, or you can have it as thick or as thin as you want. So hopefully you can still see it's still pretty thick. Yeah. Let's see if we go like that. There we go. But now you know what I mean. Now you know why with so much paint, because look at that. It doesn't go very far whenever we are in this. So I'm going to take white. Thank you for liking the live and all those gifts, etc., etc. I appreciate you. Thank you, Lord above. I knew I would get paint on the floor. We all did, didn't we? Put in the chat if you knew I would get paint on the floor. Charcoal gesture. Yes, of course I did. Right, here we go. It's going everywhere, everybody. This is what happens when you don't use modeling paste. You're navigating very thin paint, especially when you're doing it in this quick time that I'm going for here. I use charcoal. I would prefer that you use pencil so that you don't have these muggy lines to go over. That's what happens as it gets kind of overwhelming. The dark, you just want to get that covered. So all I'm doing now that I've got to this stage, basically I'm so familiar with what I'm already painting. I'm not even looking at the tulips. That's not something I necessarily recommend. It's just how it keeps the loose feel about what you're painting, loose vibe. And I'd said in one of my videos that I broke my hand when I was doing my A levels, and it meant that I had to paint I had to learn how to sketch. Didn't have to, but I taught myself how to sketch with my left hand, which I think as well is one of the other reasons why I absolutely love painting loose. And like, I love, if I go into your home and you have one of the paintings that you've used in my demos, and it's a loose gesture one, I'm going to be much more drawn to that. But that's my own personal preference. But that is what I love. And I want you to get confident with. Let's go. Good morning in Singapore. Yes, we're using acrylics. Hi, David. My acrylics dry so quickly. Do you keep yours usable? Sarah, that's a really good point. It is that's another reason why I'm teaching you to teach you guys to paint fast, because of the acrylics drying. I used to have palettes that had a little lid on them, but extender. Sometimes I would use an extender, but mostly I try to use them on the day. Is there any way to bring acrylic? I hope that answers your question. Sorry, let me know if you need another answer. Pardon me. Is there any way to bring acrylic back to life? Oh, someone else just asked that too. On the palette, it's very difficult. You can see this has started to dry. And when I teach workshops in the summer, it's really funny because they always dry after we do the color mixing. With that being said, water will bring some of it back to life on your palette, especially if you're using like one of these or if you're using a plastic palette. But if you are using a paper plate, which you know I often use, then it's much harder to bring it back to life. Can use a slow dry medium. Yes, Sarah. There you go, Bren. Yep, slow drying one, like an extender basically. Yes, exactly. Right, I'm gonna go for yellow. So this shows you this palette that I'm using right now. These are good when you're like me and you use a lot of color. So they're not very expensive. I get these on Amazon, I think now, and I buy them at like 3 or 4 packs at a time. But it just means that you have that for whenever you can just tear it off. Now we're going for yellow. Any other questions? Let me know. Thank you. You're so welcome. Always use, oh, glass palette, even better, Nadia. Totally. Anyone who's finished that painting, just stand back. I'm feeling kind of emotional. Amazing. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so proud of you showing up and doing it. That's what I want. I love the tulips, great colors. Are you going to use the palette knife for all the painting? Yes. So that's a great question as well. I like you, when you're learning how to loose paint, to use one tool the whole time. And I know that is, you're trying to rediscover, that is difficult to get your head around. And it's also difficult to navigate paint when you're using one tool. But I believe that it enriches the painting. So yes, I'm trying to rediscover a love of painting in 2026. I've become too upright, but that's okay. You know that you want to do it, so you're in the right place. If I have remaining paint, I'll cover it with plastic. So that was the other thing I was going to say. Like good old cling film. Yeah. Right. Okay. And I know someone's going to say they're not even shaped like tulips, but that's kind of the beauty of this. You can do them like the shape of a heart. You can do them so they're just coming through. You can score into it. You can really enjoy the kind of full movement of being involved in your painting. All right. Okay. Been doing gestural flower paintings for 15 years, learning so much from your techniques. I am so glad, Summer. Please send me some of them for your, yes, sorry, Dave. Please send me some on here. You can add them. You can add me, send through images. I would love to see your work. Yes, just to show David, in the background, these are our reference points. And behind the biggest canvas you're going to see today are the actual subject matter. Okay, thank you for liking the live. And this is what we're working with. Okay, these are my nice flowers. It's like, 10 o'clock on a Monday night, but here we are. So I hope that helps. But by the time we've got to this large canvas, we're being as free and as loose as possible. We did do a full demo of this little guy here. If you've just joined, this is what we were working on before. I'm covered in paint here, people, covered. So now I'm going to bring a little bit more yellow back in. And I'm adding the tiniest bit of blue to it, just a touch of blue. Do you sell paintings done on canvas boards or you? Yes, I sell paintings on anything, as long as I know that in 70 years it will still exist, like that. That's kind of what you want. But back in the very beginning, I would have sold oil. We did a lot of oil bars, and I would do those on like a heavy corrugated card. So, but yes, I love the board. And do you know why a lot of my clients like buying the boards with the canvas boards with my painting on them? They can put it on a floating frame. Thank you for all the likes. So it means that they can float it Do anyone know what a floating frame is? I can do a whole video on that too, but a floating frame is whenever the whole thing can sit like that, so you can see around the sides. Easy to frame, Bren. Yes, that's right. Working tomorrow. Yes, please do go to bed. Nobody stay up late for the sake of this live. I appreciate all of you being here and sharing it. I really do. Thank you. Thank you. We're almost done because my husband's phone I use for this too, so he'll be down to get his phone back. Right. Now we're going to mix green using this yellow. We're going to add in our blue. Look at the amount of paint we have. Schlup. I see another question. So beautiful. You're painting with type of canvas you use. This canvas is just, it's actually a thin edge canvas. So it's really thin. I'll show you it. I don't know what make it is, but I do a lot of stretching of my own canvases. So I get my framer to make me frames for them, but I paint onto large canvas on the wall and then cut that up. It's amazing to watch. Love to see what you can achieve. Thank you. Yes, I'm sure you're all tired now too, but we're nearly there. We're nearly there. You could make your own wet palette. That's very true. Oh, Aideen, I was actually reading about wet palettes because someone else had said to me about that. So we're just going for the dark in here. That's a great idea. Totally great idea. We should actually need to get like a community going for all of you guys so that you can share all of your tips and tricks. Yellow. Honestly, I wish I'd covered the floor now. Man alive. Do you seal the paintings? Yes, sorry. Yes, I do with varnish. Any type of varnish, and just make sure, especially with impasto, that it is fully dried before you do that. If you've just joined, I want you to mix your color. So it's a nice solid color. This is just our nice lime green. Wee bit stripy there. So we're going for random and bringing that in. You can see I'm not even really looking at it now. Probably would serve me better to do that, but where would the fun in that be, eh? I did an impasto one of peonies, and it's a lot of attraction actually on all channels, but I was just going to throw it out and I sent it to a friend. She was like, what? So she took it and she got it framed and it looks great. Now, we've got this nice wee opportunity to bring in a few stalks here. And then using that scoring technique I told you about. You can even put a little bit of green here. So I don't know if you can see the bottom, can you? Yeah. On the bottom, like kind of as if it's fallen. Whenever I do paintings of flowers out of my head, which I love, I like there to be, I pretend that I'm Mr. Darcy's love interest, and I pretend that I'm walking through a really nice corridor, and on my grand piano there's a beautiful vase of flowers and they're really soft. So whenever I'm painting out of my head, it's not impasto often, it's brush, and I use a dry brush and I use my hands to blend, and we have little petals that fall down. Obviously these are our tulips, which are upright and very lovely, but that is another thing for you to think about, is whenever there is like a story in what you're doing. Ali has a ton of amazing demos. Yes, thank you, Celine. I do. Pretty proud of my demos. I love sharing them. I am making this white green. Here we are. Any other questions in this final straight that you have? We are back on Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m. GMT. And we are painting, I think it's a landscape on Wednesday. And then we're also on Friday morning, 10 a.m. to 12. We are painting. I don't know what I have for that. I need to look at my diary here. I can tell you now. My to-do list is flowers, seascape, and a figure on the beach. I think we're going to do a figure on the beach on Friday. So figurative is one of the things that I've had a number of people this weekend say to me, please, can you teach us figurative work? It takes a little bit more work, but you know, we're not scared of hard work around here. Sorry if I've covered that screen. But it's definitely fun to do. So I'm going to simplify figures for you. I think the way that we simplify it is by putting them onto a beach of some sort. So there we go. We have a little bit of energy, blah, blah, blah. And then we're going to do our turquoise, which is blue with a little bit of yellow. And I'm also adding it into that white that we already have there because we want to make it a nice light turquoise. Same as our vase, base. Any other questions that you have? Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. You're so welcome. I'm so glad you're here. So this is where you get that real scoring effect I was telling you about earlier. Yay. So looking forward to the next live. Great. I look forward to having you. Yes, it's at a more reasonable hour for those of us in GMT time, 6 to 8 p.m. But I'm just going to add that in there. And then some white. But we have, it's so nice to know I have them in the week. Waited all day for you guys to get here. Waited all day. Just me and my palette knife. Actually, it took me about an hour to clean my palette knife. I'm not even joking you because it was hardened paint from so long ago. Always clean your tools, people. Don't do as I say, not as I do. All right. This is where I love scoring, right? Like, look at the energy you can add to any painting when you do that. And then I'm just letting this. Okay. What we do in the background? I don't really want to use I'm just going to put white on this. And we're going to just keep it. We're just going to keep it this. Because you use so much paint, which obviously I love, you know, but I'm going to end up painting over this. So here we are. And remember I was saying with this little guy, you can have it scored in, or you can have it as thick as you want, right? You don't have to have it so it's all thick all the way over. The more variation, the more interest we have, because the viewer fills in the detail. Put that in the chat for me. I know you've said it, some of you have already, but the viewer fills in the detail. Is there any way to bring, I'll answer that. I'm going to work tomorrow to purchase some paints. I would go, yay! The big piece is fantastic. Thank you. It's where I feel very comfortable and where you will too by the end of 2026. And it's definitely the key, loose painting on a large scale. So that's why you use your wallpaper first. Ooh! Did you see that? I'm just taking that off the floor in my home office. Right. All I'm doing really here is taking out those dark lines. The dark lines you will not have if you've been following, because you'll be using probably your pencil. But it is a good guide for me to, and I'm really not too worried about this being particularly fancy in the background or uniform or showing too much light and shade. I just want there to be some kind of variation of color to help me take out the dark of the charcoal. But yeah, let me know what you think about impasto painting if you feel you'll ever give it a try. I think you should, obviously. It's fun. And it is tricky and it is frustrating. It is frustrating. I put up one of my students who, for her final day with me in person, we did, all I'm doing here is picking up color and scraping it along. We made an impasto painting of a view that was really special to her. So, you know, I talk about, you guys are like, where do I start? Start with what you love. Start with a scene you love, a person you love. Maybe you don't want to do sketches first of people, but like anything that you love, work from a reference photo. And we worked on that, and she used impasto, and she's left-handed. And I know she was really frustrated, but it was beautiful in the end. And that's what, thank you for the rose. Thank you for all the gifts. Thank you. Definitely giving a go. Good. I'm so glad. This is so inspiring. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And you know, for so long you know, people tend to put the value on how long a painting takes. You know, let me know in the chat if you've ever been asked, how long did that take you? It's the age-old question, but now I consider it a very exciting part of my practice, and I'm happy to share it with you and inspire you to do the same and to keep trying for speed, because speed pushes your decision making. If you weren't here as well, do you know what else I would do? Just like slap that on, just use the end of it. I had to go with impasto with a session at work. Use the mediums to see why they do. Oh, thank you. You're so welcome. I get cross with myself over perfectionism. So this will be a great lesson. Yes. Even me, right? Who sells work all over the world, right? Who people pay me to make paintings like this. This is not, you know, this is not perfect by any means. In fact, if anything, it actually still doesn't feel loose enough for me. So now you're going to watch it all unfold whenever so I want you to lean into the loss of perfectionism. This is your time to unravel all those things that you were told, or even in society where we're told to have a certain filter to do a certain thing. Oh my goodness, did I wipe it up there? Yes, I did. Okay. So you're going to enjoy being here. I'm glad to have you. Right, we're finishing off. I'm going to put, oopsie, a little bit of, I'm going to take some of this pink off. Guys, that's my hair. I've pulled my hair out with the paintbrush or with the palette knife. White into this. Have a look. I'm so on top of this painting, I can barely breathe, to be honest. I'm smothered by it, but wasn't it fun? So this is just the pink on. Yes, I got some pink off. Good. Okay, let me know any other questions you have. We are done in like 2 minutes. Oh, that was really good for time, actually. I'm going to add in a few more, a bit more color. Going to bring a bit more color over there, over here. And then I'm going to use the palette knife to score in. So the same way that you have a tulip, whenever the tulip is closed, like so, we want to make, or if it's open, you want to imply that you can see that. And you can do that by scoring into what you've got. But the more variation, the better, and the richer your painting will be. But I think we'll leave it there. Are there enough of it? Is there enough? Are there enough? I'm going to put a few stalks in here. I always like the lives because then you see how boogaloo I am too. I know you get frustrated, but I do too. I do too. There, that feels a bit better. Oh, I know. We want a bit of the blue, a bit of this blue in here, in here, in there. All right. Settle yourself down, Ali. Right, here we go. There we are. There's our painting for tonight. So fun. Thank you so much for all of the wonderful likes and saves and shares and everything. Beautiful, Ali. Thank you, Nikki. Looks so much more fun. It's a lot of fun on a large canvas. But don't feel you need to, I'm just going to hold my flowers like I've just got married. Don't feel that you need to get a large canvas. If you've just joined, get yourself some big roll of a wallpaper. Wallpaper holds it. The one I told you about earlier, which is one of my most viewed Impasto painting demos that I gave to my friend I was going to throw out, it's on wallpaper. Wallpaper holds it really well. So Impasto is really fun to learn on that, but give it a go. Well done. Let's go very quickly over what we did. We had our gesture drawings. So we had our, you're so welcome. Thank you for being here. We had our gesture drawings of different flavors. We had our continual line drawing, which was this one. We had our light and shade one. We had our 35 seconds one. We had our 15 seconds one. And we had our pencil taped onto the end of a paintbrush one. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Marlene. So good to have you. What a whole new world we've just opened up with these lives. I feel very attached to my flowers and very thankful that you've given me your time. Any questions you have, right underneath all of the posts, and I can reply to them. I'm definitely the person that replies. And if I don't, send me it somewhere else and I'll reply. Thank you for the fan club stuff. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for sharing. I will definitely paint flowers and I will try color paste. I would love you to. Thank you so much for being here, Kat. Thank you. You're so welcome. Thank you, Karma and Anne and Barbara and Eva. Thank you, thank you. And this will be saved and you'll be able to watch it on the replay if you missed. And have a lovely evening. It is now bedtime. Last week, I was awake till 3 a.m. I was buzzing so much after this. I felt like Taylor Swift after her concerts. So I better go and settle myself down with a peppermint tea. Where do I send my questions? Karen, any post, I will get them underneath. Send your questions underneath. And I will be able to reply in due course. So I will go. Enjoy your evening. This is our beautiful painting that we made. And I really appreciate you giving me your time and being here. So have a lovely evening. Bye. All